started. He did the work. He did the research. He started, talking to people. And he had a friend, good friend, who was an industrial designer. So he asked his friend to help us design a bag that was functional and stylish. So that's how we proceeded. And we got the design. We were all ready to make the bags, but how do we do it? None of us was in the industry. So how do we get a factory, So it just so happened that my husband, had a very good friend from college who is very big in supply chain management. So I asked him, why don't you ask Victor? And he did not like to ask people for favors. So he refused, and I said, we have no other way. We have no connection to the industry. So he finally did, and Victor asked him, what kind of bags are you making? Because he talked about luggage. And when you think of luggage, you're thinking of, rollers. Right? Is it hard side, soft side? And my husband said, I don't know. Because he really didn't know exactly what we were doing. He was just trying to do us a favor. But his friend did recommend a factory to us. And the good thing about that factory was they were owned by 3 Singaporeans. And Singaporeans are very multilingual. They speak all dialects of Chinese, English. And we were able to communicate with them. So that's how we got started. But the factory really had a question about whether they want to take us on, because they knew that we had no experience. So I was on the phone with one of the owners, and he was trying to talk me out of it for an hour, and I was trying to talk him into taking us, because I said, we know what we're doing, even though we didn't. But I talked about, my son was telling me about the impact of social media. That was the early days. And so I didn't really know that much about social media, but I told him, in social media nowadays, you can get the word out, blah, blah, blah. So I talked him in to at least consider us. So that's how we got started. And I think our experience shows that it's really important to be persistent and courageous. You don't take no for an answer. And that's how we got started. And the interesting thing about the factory was that they were so impressed by my sons, because they would spend days and months in the factory, working there. So they kept saying, who are you? What do you do? So he was wondering, what the 3 of us did. So I said, Jan makes the bag, Derek sells the bag, and I manage the 2 of them.
And the company is called Low & Sons, right?
Yeah. So that is the origin of Low & Sons.
Thank you. And it's really an amazing product. Actually, someone on my team, she's here today, she's the managing director of our agency. She has one of the bags, and she was telling me how flexible they are and how well made they are. And I think there's some on display that you can even purchase today in the hall. So please go and see Helen's product later today. And one thing, the takeaway I would say after hearing the stories of so many different women coming from so many different industries is the tenacity you have to have, and the ability to not have the fear to ask all these different people, including your family members and your friends, and keep being persistent on asking them how to do this. So I guess the question for the general question for the panel would be, where do you find the strength after, let's say, receiving all these no's or feeling like this is something I've never done before? How am I going to enter this industry?
Well, I'll start. I was working for better or for worse. For me, I will say I was a career soccer player for years, and so just growing up being very athletic, I think that helped. But also primarily, I was raised by a single mom, and so I saw my mom work 4 or 5 jobs. She sat me down when I was 14, and she was like, so we're broke, and I can't afford to send you to college, and you need to figure it out. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll get a soccer scholarship or an academic scholarship. I'll figure it out, which I did. So I think it's just, for me, my personal story is it's just part of my upbringing. And then, again, just being raised by a single mom, being able to like live and breathe every day to empower women the way that they want to be empowered, whatever that means for them. That's just a big personal love of mine and just a big part of my DNA.
I have a similar, I was raised with two brothers, one on each side, and I was really raised as not a girl or a boy. It was just, you're a child, you're gonna be competing, and you gotta be the best. And so I've had that sort of, I guess, nature of me for my whole, whether it was academic, athletics, or now my career. I think when starting Luminary, you know, and it's great because there are a bunch of our members in the audience today, and I'm so proud because this was one of the first conferences that I spoke at last year, and it was a week after we opened. So, but for us, for me, it's about also listening to the community, listening to your friends, listening to the voices so that everyone is heard. And so this year for us, it's like every day we're learning, and we've delivered over 180 programs, workshops, and events this year. Right? And that's because of the feedback that we're getting from our community, so we continue to listen and listen. And if we make a mistake, we figure it out and we keep moving on, right? And then we're also getting